Today we are again in Taxila. You know, it's a historical place and it's famous for Buddhist history, because here are very important Buddhist remains which are sacred for Buddhas. And this is the Dharma Rajika. In fact, this was constructed in 4th and 5th century, and it was constructed by the Ashoka. Ashoka was then governor of Taxila. Taxila was one of the provinces of the Indian famous regime, which was known as the Maurya regime, which was established by Chandragupta Maurya. And Chandragupta Maurya was also belonging to this city of Taxila, and his teacher was Kotliya. He was the student of this Buddhist monastery Joliya, and after that we will also show you the Buddhist monastery Joliya, which was the oldest university on this earth, or at least in this area. And this Dharma Rajika was in fact constructed by the Ashoka when he was governor, and due to his love with his Buddhist faith, later on he was known as the Dharma Maharaja. That means the great Maharaja. And later on the Buddha was also become the king of this area, this Maurya state, Maurya Sultanate, which was famous and which was the largest state in the subcontinent. Even it is said that was the first state, first government which had united the entire India. Previously there was the small states of different Rajas and Maharajas, but he had overcome all those Rajas and Maharajas and established the great Sultanate of Maurya, which was known as Maurya Kingdom or Maurya Dynasty. And this is the Dharma Rajika. These are the different remains, and we will show you all these remains in detail, and we will also show you the main Dharma Rajika Stupa. Although now that's not in good shape, that's destroyed a little bit, but still its foundations are here. You will see and you will assess by these foundations that it was a great structure built by Raja Ashoka. These are the outside foundations, and in fact these are looking like small rooms, small outpost rooms, and these are constructed by stones and stone walls, or about 4 feet wide, and their symmetry is very good. These are in rectangle form, and these are in fact the small rooms. You know, as it is that Dharma Rajika was a monastery, and I think these outside rooms were meant for their Buddhist monks or the visitors who were visiting this monastery. It's big in size. It's having, I think, about the size of 1 hectare. And even today there are small oak trees. These are not so small oak trees, but these are oak trees which are the identity of such Buddha monasteries. But this tree, all these are the rooms. These are the rooms whose walls are not so wide. These walls are just 2 feet. Of different structures, including the main stupa. I think this is looking a small rectangle tank, and in fact these are not single tank, these are 2-3 tanks. These are having the different sizes. But then there are again the rooms of different sizes. This was one of the famous and the largest worship place, and it is having in fact a great structure. Small structures are even included, and here you can see that's looking a small stupa. It is like a platform, and outside the platform there are the small holes in the stones. I think these were just meant to thrash something. This is the structure, this is the arc type structure. There are the arcs as usual as the part of stupas. This is a small gate. I think this was used for some underground room under the stupa. I think here might be the sacred things belonging to this monastery. Yes, here is again a tank. I think this tank might be used for storing the water, which might be used for drinking and other purposes. Here are again the small statues of the Buddha. In fact, these are made by the clay, and this is the reason these are in fact destroyed and just their outline skeletons are available. Their original structures are not available. Yes, that small structure is also having the rooms connected with it. These are the small structures. These are also the circular structures. And I think these were the small platform just to sit and relax. These are the rooms. Here are two big oak trees. Big oak trees. Between this structure, these are the small room structures. That's the broader view of eastern side of Stupa. That's, as I have already told you, that this monastery is having a very broad area, and it's about 1 hectare, and there are the different structures, and apparently these structures are looking the walled structures. There is another platform. These are the room structures. This is again a platform. And this platform is made of rectangle stones and square stones. That's beautifully made. I think when it was in its original form, that will be very great structure. And even today, the stones and their symmetry, their cutting styles, these are very good styles. And it's again a square. This is another compartment. I think it's looking a small monastery. It is adjacent and outside the main stupa. And this is in fact looking a hostel or some teaching place, because like all such monasteries, this is also in a square form. There are the small rooms, and the size of these rooms is, I think, about 10 to 12 feet. There are the very broad walls, and these walls are about 4 to 5 feet wide. But these are the well built, very strong, and I think there are about 5 rooms at each side. 5 rooms each side, and in the center there is a pool. I think this might be for holy bath or swimming, washing. Now there is some repairing work. Now this is the outskirts. This is a big place. Now it's linked with the fields. And I think these fields were used to cultivate different crops for production of food for the residents of this monastery. In fact, this area is just like a valley, small valley. Yes, this is the outskirt of this monastery. Of all this. And I think these are looking the specialized compartment. These might be used for teachers of this monastery and some other important persons, because these are separate, secluded. That is also looking on the hilltop, because all fields are having the down effect. So now we are moving towards another place which is part of this stupa. In fact, it's a big stupa, and this is given the name of a chapel. In fact, in this small cabin, there are the 3 statues of Buddha. In fact, these are the remains. These are just the big stupas, big statues foot. By these foot, it's looking that this might be a huge statue of about 20 to 30 feet. But in sides, there are 2 small statues. One is broken off, but the one is just small, which is of the sitting Buddha, but its head is also broken. Yes, it's a small cabin. Here are again the same symmetry. There are the remains of 2 small statues and the big statue. I think the size of this big statue might be 10 to 15 high, as the foots are very clear, as these are made of clay, and this is the reason that these are easily destroyed and cannot survive due to the passage of time. Again, these are small platforms. These are the small sister stupas. I don't know what was the reason of these constructing these small statues, stupas. These are very small. I think these will be just going towards the one big stupa. These are equally beautifully designed. Now we are moving towards the big stupa, which is the main stupa of this monastery, this huge monastery. This monastery is having a lot of residential places. And this is the exterior. About 15 feet, a circular path, and on both sides there are the structures. In our right side there are the small structures, but in our left side there is the outer wall of the big stupa. There are entrance stairs. I think these stairs might be used to go upstairs on the stupa. These are the small cabins, small rooms, and their size is about 15 to 10 feet. And certainly these might be for prayer purposes, so that the person praying should be very close to the main stupa. These are the stones. By these stones you can assess that it was a big structure, but it could not survive the time. And it's not simply the question of centuries. It's a question of about 20 centuries. And I think it's a huge time, and it's very difficult to stay the turbulent times, particularly when those structures were not maintained. In fact, there are the 4 stairs going upward to the main stupa, and these are on western side, eastern side, then on western side, northern side, and southern side. Another structure outside the stupa. That's also looking a small stupa, although there are the foundations of the stupa. but these are protected by a roof, wooden roof. Since its identification, that's also a small structure outside the main stupa. And there are also the small statues of Buddha just fixed on the walls of this small stupa. These are in fact different poses of the Buddha, and most of the poses are of the fasting Buddha. Fasting Buddha is the main photograph, which is the attraction throughout the world for the Buddhists as well as other peoples, because they can see the meditation condition of Buddha. And around all this there are small statues of different poses of Buddha. Although all these are destroyed, but these are beautifully carved. These are just the proof of skill of craftsmen at that time. This is the eastern wall of this small stupa. This wall is little bit simple, and now this is the southern wall, and this is again a simple wall. I'm showing you the western side of this great stupa. These are outer structures of the stupa. And the outer side of this stupa is in fact having the similar design. There are circular pillars, then there are the rooms, then there are the small rooms and small stupas. Yes, here is another small wall, and in fact this is the outer view of the small monasteries outside the stupa. I think there were different statues of the Buddha which are not existing right now. Certainly these are removed. You can say this is protected by the small roof of wooden made. This is the western view of this stupa, this great stupa, Dharma Rajika Stupa. This is the largest stupa in these Buddhist remains of Taxila. As I have already told you that it is covering about 1 hectare area, and all that area is covered by big or small structures. These are looking the residential structures, and these are also looking the prayer purpose structures. There are the small stupas, there are the chapels, and there are similar small other places, and these might be constructed by some later rulers or other rich peoples. this is the southern outskirt of the stupa. That's the rich green, and in fact the land is very fertile. And this is quite strange that in this area the Buddhas or the followers of the Buddha selected the very fertile land for their prayer purposes. And certainly there are the streams of water, and in these streams there is the cool and fresh and sweet water, and this might be the cause of the longevity of life of the residents of this area. Now we are moving towards the end. I think it will be an interesting trip for you. You have witnessed an important historical place which is known as Dharma Rajika Stupa, which was built in 4th century by Maharaja Ashoka, who was one of the famous rulers of this subcontinent. These are the details, and this is the design of stupa, and it is showing that this stupa was constructed in 4 phases. Early phase, phase 1, phase 2, early phase 3, phase 3 and phase 4, and then late masonry. And these are the details about this stupa. Thank you very much for witnessing this video, and I'm also grateful to Madiha Malik, without whose assistance this video was not possible.